LLM chatbot.
That's what I'm talking about.
Baked,
And
still
here's
baking, just dough.
it's still baking. Okay. It's not just dough. I've seen some very good examples of it. Here's the problem. When you have a salesman say to you, well, we recommend that you verify every utterance before passing it along to a customer for a year. The real problem is this. It's going to be adopted wholesale by a lot of companies who think that they need to be on this train right now. It's still the next best guess. And that's not good. So for me, what it's like is taking a mediocre agent and cloning them 150 times and putting them into every seat that I have. If I'm going to spend all the time it's going to take to clone an agent 150 times to put them in my seats, I want to clone my best agent. It's not worth it to institutionalize mediocrity at this point in time. Will it get there? Yeah, I believe it will get there. I believe it'll probably get further than we think.
Lead optimization. What do you think? Baked, baking, just dough.
Baking. I've seen a number of attempts at this that I don't think have worked well. And I assume that there are a number of attempts out there that do work well. And I know we use some sort of stuff like lead scoring and things like that. The real issue that you're going to run into with that is all of the regulatory stuff that's going on right now. And that is one of the things that scares me more than anything else. For everything that's baked, when the regulatory industry changes or the regulatory environment changes, and it inevitably is going to, you're going to have to rebake it. Hopefully you won't have to start from scratch. Hopefully you'll just have to do some adjustments, but it's going to be affected. And, the problem that I have with it is that it's taking a very TCPA path in the way the regulations are coming, which means it includes private right of action, and it includes a lot of the privacy issues that we get into. It's going to require a lot of issues around third parties. You have to have one-to-one consent. You have to be able to transfer the certificate of consent. Nobody even actually has a certificate of consent at the moment. The real danger from AI is not that it will become self-aware and decide that humans are obsolete. The real danger from AI is that evil men with bad intentions will use AI to shape public opinion in ways that we would not like. That's the problem that we have with AI.
AI generated insights. Baked, still baking, just dough.
We're somewhere between baking and baked. We're now getting the ability to get insights on whether we're coaching in the right directions, whether your coaches are actually coaching to the metrics that you've set. Before AI started watching these things, we didn't have time to watch these things. And you don't really have the capability of drawing the correlations because you've got to listen to the calls, you've got to look at the metrics, you got to understand how the coach is coaching. All these different factors, there's probably no one person that ever runs into that, but AI can, and AI can pull all of that stuff together. One of the neatest things that I think AI has potential for is really upgrading workforce optimization software. Nobody's done it yet. It looks at the same day last year and the year before, and then the same day the week before, and it basically projects how many calls you're going to get for that day. But here's the interesting thing. If you then pull AI in it and say, what does a day look like when we have a snowstorm? What does a day look like when a holiday falls on this day? Now you might have the holiday, you might have to really go looking for the snowstorm. Okay, but AI will be able to find it. As we point out, time is money on these things. And those are things that time actually is money. You do not want to be overstaffed or understaffed.
AI coaching software. Baked, baking, dough.
I would say AI coaching software is baked, but there are a lot of people trying to catch up. The marketplace is becoming as saturated as any of the other marketplaces now. And the nice thing about it, Mark, is that there's really fascinating differentiation out there. So you can get agent assist software that is specifically tuned for compliance reasons. And there's no reason for one platform to necessarily be good at everything. I was really looking forward to this point in time because now I believe this software is here to stay. Nobody ever really factors the agent into those equations, although we try to. But if this is the one specific piece of software that makes the agent's life easier, it helps them when they get stuck. I mean, it's like having that little rescue dog.
Automatic
Yes.
summarization technologies.
Yep.
Baked, still baking, or just dough?
I would say still baking. I think that there's a lot of room for improvement. I think there's some good products out there. The biggest key is making sure that we capture the nuggets, the important pieces of the conversation, without putting too much in. I don't want ChatGPT to write that for me, because I'm going to go from a single sentence to a paragraph. I mean, it's going to be wonderfully written paragraph, but the fact of the matter is the next agent who's going to read that, they want to just read the single sentence that actually just describes what happened on that call and what the next step is. There's so many different ways that you can access this technology, and that's a big problem, especially when you're talking about the use cases at work, because I don't want my employees just running to OpenAI and typing in stuff, and the more tied down it is, the less flexible it can be. But the good news is the less possibility of chat hallucinations.
Autonomous outbound AI bots. Baked, baking, just dough.
That's baking.
Really? I thought you were going to say dough. Baking.
Now I'll say it's baking. The thing is, I have seen a number of companies that are doing that right now. I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole because of the regulatory environment. So under TCPA, you're not allowed to use a recorded call. Basically, the very definition of a robocall is using an auto dialer to send a recorded message. The problem that you have with AI is it a recording, or is it self-generating? It will come down to something as fundamental. Was the voice generated using recorded sound bites or recorded words? Recorded words, you're going to get in trouble with that. If it's a voice synthesizer, well, maybe not.
Have you talked to anyone really using it yet? Or just seen
No.
No?
I've just seen the demos. And remember, mostly what they're using it for are count updates and things like that. So it's not going to be highly sophisticated as of yet, but someday it really will be.
Let's bring this over to the QA side of the world.
Okay.
Let's do, an auto QA, something that's automatically, scoring the calls. Baked, baking, or just dough?
I think that's pretty much baked at the moment. I've seen some great examples of it. Balto with Agent Assist also having the Q&A, tremendous. Because first of all, you're already listening to all my calls. Why not Q&A them while you're doing it? Do I believe that there's room for improvement? There's always room for improvement. I mean, once you get a product that's reliable, something you can solidly base your metrics on or solidly use to help your call center get better, then you can come up with ways of making that even better. I don't require my agents to get it right 100% of the time, because there's always going to be other factors. The biggest thing I want is to improve the customer experience, and it does do that, and that's exactly where we want it.